How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another override static stretch series. We're going to start today in our quadra position, working on a little bit of our wrist. We're going to start with 1 minute working through some wrist flexion, and then we'll go 1 minute working through some wrist extension. So for the first one, I'm going to set up my palms flat. Arms are going to stay straight, and I'm going to gently shift forward and back, rocking into the fingertips, applying a little bit of pressure so I get a nice stretch through the base of my palm and my forearm. I can shift a little over to one side, favoring over onto my left wrist, shifting over onto my right wrist. If we want to increase that stretch, I'm going to turn our palms, fingers point towards us, palms staying flat. I'm going to shift back towards my heels now. Same thing, I should be feeling a nice big stretch through the base of my forearms. Rocking back, nice and easy, gently applying a little bit more pressure on each rep. Last few seconds here. Next, we're going to flip over to the back side, working through some wrist extension stretching. So we're going to be on the back of the wrist here, gently shifting my weight back. This is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable for most of us, so just be careful. If anyone does need to take a little pressure off, you can do this one arm at a time. Working on the back of the wrist. For those that feel comfortable, if you want a little bigger stretch in this position, I can shift back, but I can also start to curl my hands in, making a fist. It's going to increase the stretch all along the top of the wrist and the forearm here. Got 15 seconds. Nice and easy, then we'll shake it out. Our next stretch is thread the needle. So for this one, I'm going to get set up in a child's pose, and I'm going to take one hand, I'm going to reach underneath and rotate as much as I can, and then I'm going to use the weight of my shoulders and my torso to apply some pressure into that bottom arm. I'm getting a nice big stretch in the outside of my shoulder, across the back of my shoulder blade, and into my spine. I'm going to hold here. I'm going to do this for 1 minute on each side. When I'm in this position, doing some nice, slow, deep breathing. Inhaling slow through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Nice and controlled. I've got a nice stretch here, but no pain. Got about 10 more seconds on this side. Nicely done. We're going to come up and switch hands. I'm going to reach this hand underneath. Use the weight of my shoulder, my upper body to create that stretch. Working on controlling and slowing down my breathing. Again, I'm getting that stretch across the outside of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, and a little bit in my middle back and T-spine. More seconds. Last 5 seconds here. And we're going to come up and shake it out. We've got one more stretch for our shoulders. This is called our shoulder sleeper stretch. So for this one, I'm gonna lay on my side. I want my arm to come right out in front of me so that I'm making a 90-degree angle. And I've also got a 90-degree angle at my arm here. From here, I'm gonna gently press on the outside of the shoulder. I should be getting a stretch across the outside of my delt, my arm here. I'm gonna hold here, nice and gentle, working through. Want to add a little rotation in here, you can. Got 30 seconds on this side. Seconds. Nicely done. We're going to shake it up and we will switch sides. Again, I've got the arm out in front of me. Arm at 90 degrees, and I'm going to gently push on the outside of the hand here. We got 1 minute on each side. Be careful on this stretch. You can kind of apply too much pressure and end up kind of overstretching this area. So just a little bit of pressure is needed as you rotate that hand down. Seconds on this side. Very nice. All right, we're gonna shake it out. We're gonna get into some lower body. Our first one is going to be a bear sit position. So I'm gonna get myself set up so I can put my back flat against the wall. From here, I'm looking to pull my knees up to my chest, and I want to keep my knee and my ankle in line. Try to avoid tucking the heels in. From here, I'm going to hold in this position. This one we're going to hold for 2 minutes. And I've got hands on my ankles here, and my elbows are just going to gently push down on the knee so I get a nice big stretch on the inside of the hips here. 2 minutes is going to be a little bit longer time for this one, so I want you guys to take your time getting into some stretching, gently applying a little bit more pressure as you go. We got to make it for 2 minutes here. Working on slowing down my breathing, inhaling slowly through the nose, exhaling slowly as I apply a little bit more pressure with the elbows, pushing those knees open. We are halfway through, we've got 1 more minute. Pulling the knees up towards my chest, using my elbows to push the knees down towards the floor. Just focusing on doing some breathing and staying seated nice and tall, back against the wall. Got 20 seconds. Couple more slow, deep breaths. Sinking into that stretch. Last 10 seconds here. And let's extend those legs out. Shake it out a little bit. So we just worked on the inside of the hips here. Now we're going to be working on the outside. This stretch is called a half lotus stretch against the wall. I'm gonna set up with my butt close to the wall, laying flat on my back. I want to set this up so that my knees and hips are at 90 degrees. I'm gonna take one leg across. As I bring my leg across, my hips come up off the floor just a tad. And then from here, I'm gonna gently let my hips fall to the floor. And I'm applying pressure with this hand, pushing the knee towards the wall. I get a nice big stretch in the outside of my hip here. We're gonna do some deep breathing. We're gonna hold this for 1 minute on each side. Halfway through on this leg. Got 10 more seconds. And nice and easy, we are going to switch sides. So again, I'm going to pick my hips up, pull this foot across, so I'm making a figure 4. I'm going to gently let my hips fall down as I apply some pressure, pushing the knee towards the wall, letting my hips sink down towards the floor. Let's try to regain our breathing. Breathing in slow through the nose. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. You're about halfway through here on this leg. Last 10 seconds here. And we're going to take our time coming out of that stretch. I'm going to gently roll over to the side. And I'm going to come into a seated position. For this one, we're going to go legs straight, feet together, and we're going to do a forward pike, folding here, reaching towards the feet. We're going to do this for a 2-minute stretch. You're going to take your time, gradually folding forward, reaching further towards the feet. If anyone has a hard time holding onto your feet, you can bring our hands as far as possible, holding onto our shins or our ankles, just folding into that stretch. Inhale slowly. As you exhale, you're going to try to fold over into that stretch a little bit further. Getting a little bit deeper into the stretch each time. We are halfway through. We've got 1 more minute here. Nice and slow breathing. Got 25 more seconds. Really let your body just fold into that stretch. Last few seconds here. I'm gonna slow stretch of the day is going to be a pancake stretch. I'm going to set up in my straddle position here, feet out nice and wide, and we're going to gently just fold it forward, reaching those hands out as much as you can. Last 2 minutes of the day here, folding it forward. Each exhale, letting yourself fold forward, sink into that stretch a little bit further. Getting a nice big stretch here. We are halfway through. We've got 1 more minute. Last 30 seconds. I'm going to try to get in 3 more slow, deep breaths, sinking into that stretch. Last 10 seconds here. And we're going to gently come out of that stretch. You can shake the legs out. That is all we have for today. Hope to see you all next week.